Hi friends, how are you this week? We are going to talk this week about what's coming up in astrology, and it's going to be a fun time. Thanks for showing up. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I want to welcome you to the podcast this week, AstroEnergy. Okay, so what we are approaching this week has a lot to do with Pisces energy, and Pisces energy is ruled by Neptune. Neptune currently is at 24 degrees of Pisces, and Venus just went past conjunction, meaning exact same degree. And so now Venus is on her way to transiting out of the sign of Pisces. So Venus enters Aries on Monday, the 21st, and that is 2:56 a.m. and 19th at 11:56 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, the 19th. So we can expect that coming up this week. We also have the energy of a new moon coming in over the weekend, and we have Sun entering Pisces. So Sun enters Pisces on the 18th. That's a really early day for a transit like that. Usually the Sun changes signs right around the 20th of a month, but this month, February, it goes on the 18th. So today is currently the 17th. I'm recording this, which means tomorrow the Sun enters Pisces. And that is also an indicator of what it's going to be like on March 7th when Saturn hits the same degree of Pisces, 0 degrees. So my advice is pay strong attention to what energy comes in. It's 5:34 p.m. Eastern and 2:34 p.m. Pacific. So what happens then is we get the light shining on the area of the sky that represents 0 Pisces. And when Saturn goes into 0 Pisces, of course, that's going to be restriction, structure, everything Capricornian, and it's going to be in the territory of Pisces, which means now Capricorn and the sign of Capricorn, if you have Sun in Capricorn, you're going to feel this. What happens is when Saturn goes into Pisces is it's going to expand the knowledge and understanding of the structure of Piscean energy, which is emotion, sentimentality, all the things Piscean, which are poetry, vintage ways of looking at things, fashion or getting sentimental about the past, the elderly, or wrapping up an old story, history, photography, film, and psychic awareness. This is dreams, daydreams, things like that. All of that is under Pisces. It is also the energy of the chameleon. It is the energy of daydreams, which can also be enhanced by drugs and alcohol and escapism. So escapism comes under Piscean energy. And when Sun is there, it highlights all of that. And it highlights people who were born under the sign of Pisces. So happy birthday to my Pisces friends. I have a lot because I'm a Virgo and we tend to get along well with people of the opposite sign. And they tend to be some of my favorite people, actually. And while the Sun is entering Pisces, that is Pisces season. We have also had Venus in Pisces, so it kind of gave us small footsteps into the Pisces season. Neptune has been there for quite a while, probably close to a decade. I'd have to look it up. I don't actually remember off the top of my head, but it's a long time. And so Pisces energy has been around, and really influencing us for at least a month as Venus has been there. And then as Venus moves into Aries right after Sun goes into Pisces, it is kind of like an entering of the energy and an exiting of the energy in two different respects. So the Sun coming in means it is the ego, and Pisces is really good with killing ego. And that just means that it is the last sign of the zodiac. The ego is born under Aries and goes all through every sign. And so Pisces is kind of like the color black in color theory, where it includes everything, every color. Pisces includes every sign of the zodiac. And that's also how Pisces is so capable of shifting and changing energy. Whenever Pisces people are around people of other energy patterns, they very easily can shift over and start behaving in that same vein. So for the course of the month, starting Saturday, the 18th, we will see energy of the sun in Pisces, expanding water, expanding dreaminess, expanding exhaustion, or feeling tired, which Pisces can feel that way when you have strong Pisces energy transiting the heavens. It's kind of like what do you call it? The Sandman sprinkling sleep dust all over all of us. And that's partly because Pisces really does resonate to the psychic realms, which have an easier time coming in and really communicating with us through dreams and in our sleep state. So that's going to be kind of the next month easily, especially with the new moon in Pisces for a couple days, and then Saturn entering Pisces in March. So just anticipate that if you feel tired, if you feel drowsy or dreamy, that's part of the energy coming in. Okay, we also have Venus entering Aries. So Venus will, as of Monday, so the new moon comes in right after the sun enters Pisces on Sunday. The moon is currently in Capricorn as I record this, but enters Aquarius overnight at 9:35 p.m. Pacific and 12:35 a.m. Eastern on Saturday morning. So the moon transiting Capricorn currently is within 7 degrees of Pluto. And the moon on Pluto means that there is a home situation that is entering an end area. Something is culminating and finishing up around the home scenario. It could be relevant to family. It could be relevant to home, the actual structure of the home. It could be relevant to the dynamic of domesticity, of everything associated with the domestic dynamic. So cooking, cleaning, decorating, keeping house in some capacity, that something has to change and shift and alter as moon enters the conjunction energy of Pluto. Pluto is now at 29 degrees and 10 minutes. So he is getting ready to make his transition into Aquarius come the 23rd of March. But that means that he is also in the anaretic degree, the last degree of the sign of Capricorn. So it is the final push towards wrapping energy up. It does mean that also we will have 2 years of transit between around 28, maybe 27 degrees through 29 of Capricorn as Pluto transits retrograde back into Capricorn for this year and next year. But this is the first time in 265 odd years, roughly, that he has been at this degree. And so he is really in that final push of saying, this is what I believe about Capricorn. This is what I believe about structure. This is where I'm heading. This is how we're wrapping up the energy of understanding government, of understanding systems, of understanding hierarchy, understanding the value, Pluto, of Capricornian energy. So it is rootedness, it is the fixed energy, and it is the cardinal energy, the initiating of the system and the structure wrapping up. So as Pluto went into Capricorn in 2007, he initiated this energy around value of systems and structure and stability and solidity. But as he goes into Aquarius, Aquarius is air energy. It is bringing things up into the mist of the air, the fluidity of the air, the awareness of our consciousness. And so everything kind of comes up in here out of the physical hard surface realm, up into the mind, into the ideas, into the air realm. And so as we finish off this energy, the moon in this last cycle, the moon will actually be in Capricorn close to when he goes into the energy of Aquarius. So the moon enters Capricorn the 16th of March, which will be the last moon in Capricorn before Pluto goes out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. This is the second to the last moon in Capricorn cycle, but it is the moon at end degrees of Capricorn for this month. And so it is really triggering that culmination of a story around mom, around family, around the structure as we know it of the home energy and the mother, the feminine figurehead of the family energy. Moon entering Aquarius overnight from Friday into Saturday is going to bring us a Saturday of Moon joining up with Mercury later in the day, and that happens 5:35 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And then Moon Pluto, and then the next energy is Moon Mercury, says that the moon is bringing something to our awareness around everything I just listed, dealing with family and mother and feminine energy, the hierarchy of women. And Mercury is in Aquarius, which is a masculine energy. And Mercury is a gender neutral sign. So the moon joining up with that gender neutral energy can mean that there is an awareness of something associated with siblings, neighbors, community on a small scale, localized energy. Okay, yeah, so Moon Mercury is going to really highlight family input and localized input into our awareness. So this is information that maybe was hidden with the conjunction of Moon to Pluto and now is being forced out into the open in ways that we didn't know before. So information is coming in. I just found out some information today about someone that I didn't know before. And so it is bringing awareness to the fore, and it will only root in and be much more profound as the moon joins up with Mercury over the weekend. As the moon moves across Saturn, Saturn is at 27 Aquarius, again, coming in the next couple of weeks to the final degrees of Aquarius. And my sister actually has her Saturn in late Aquarius. So this is the ending of an awareness cycle, an expansion cycle of our cognizance, of what we've brought into our ideas, what we've brought into innovation, to technology, spirit guides, psychic awareness, channeling information, just overarching collective consciousness and awareness is now coming into the final energy of its time with Saturn. Usually when the slower moving planets go from one sign to another, they will retrograde. If they go into the new sign close to a retrograde, it'll retrograde and go back into that old sign. This is not the case with Saturn. Saturn goes to 5 degrees Pisces and goes back to 0 degrees Pisces. It does not go back into Aquarius. So literally between now, which is the 17th, and the 7th, which is basically 2 weeks and 3 days, so 17 days, final time of Saturn in Aquarius until 26, 28 years from now, when Saturn gets back to Aquarius. So about 26 years, because you have to deduct the years that it's been in Aquarius. So it'll go back in roughly 2.5 years per sign times 11 signs. And that's a lot. It's, 25 years. And so we won't really see this energy again for that amount of time. But Saturn moving signs as well coming up in March is going to really shift us. There are a lot of shifts in March. I do want to address those, so I'll do that after I get through what's going on currently. But Saturn in Aquarius, really the authority energy. Saturn has been square to its ruling planet in his time in Aquarius. Saturn squared Uranus, which rules Aquarius. And so as Saturn now moves out of Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus has a little bit of breathing room from that energy. And then Saturn in Pisces is actually a cooperative energy to Taurus. Saturn has joined with the sun as of yesterday, and now the sun is at 28 Aquarius moving on. So the sun energy is only experiencing 28 and 29 before he moves in on Saturday to Pisces. So the final day of sun in Aquarius and then the conjunction to Saturn means that we have seen the storyline, the collective energy, the awareness of what needs to be done in an authoritative manner about technology, about science, about the collective awareness of community and life purpose associated with our community center. And now Sun is moving on into Pisces to start exploring that energy in a more emotional sense, in a more psychic and ethereal sense. Ethereal qualities are really brought in with Pisces. So that's where we're heading with Sun. That's where we have experienced our desires going through Pisces and maybe brought out the idea of doing photography or art or poetry or researching our genealogy, as Venus has explored the territory and also talked to Neptune recently. Getting into Aries, Aries energy is Vesta, which is keeper of the documents, keeper of the flame and the torchlight around understanding. And then also Jupiter at 9 degrees Aries is really showing us that kind of brash Aries energy. Jupiter retrograded through all the degrees and is now direct, but still an early energy of Aries. And that means there is still even more accented masculine energy and youthful exuberance with Jupiter expanding the awareness of Aries. Two energies most associated with self awareness, self interest, self absorption are Aries and Gemini. And Mars in Gemini has really given us a very long, extended time understanding that kind of self interest that Mars brings to Gemini energy. And Gemini communicates that through brash, maybe blunt discourse. Jupiter is still in sextile or positive energy to Mars in Gemini. If you have someone with a strong Mars in their chart, I know people with Mars in the first house. I have a daughter with Aries energy, first degree. So it can really accent that for people who may not necessarily have that really strong drive towards self-interest, but it's bringing it out. And maybe they're a little bit more difficult to deal with this energy right now. So just be aware it still is in the collective. Jupiter is bringing more of an opportunity to take action through travel spontaneously. Jupiter really likes travel and is very good in spontaneity and spontaneous energy. So we'll see that at this time. Chiron at 13 Aries, still digging heels in the middle degrees, which is the Leo degrees, wanting more connectivity and maybe doing more wounding in relationship energy, because Leo does connect to people one-on-one. So Chiron in Aries in the Leo sector is going to maybe express more of that self-interest with relationships and have more of that masculine energy that's brash and assertive that may do more unknowing damage to the relationships. Juno at 17 is also in that same energy. So we're seeing that maybe marital situations aren't going as smoothly as they could right now, but that may loosen up a bit more as Juno gets into the Sagittarius energy, which rules the Jupiter energy. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And so the third decan, the Sagittarius decan of Aries, when Juno goes into that in a few days, on the 23rd, next Thursday, February 23rd, Juno will go into the third decan, and that means that it will be Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Juno is a moon of Jupiter, so it will be more cooperative energy in that Aries energy. So it'll be more about travel and about expansion of awareness of other cultures. And, we're going to have more cooperation with people of other cultures at that time. So just kind of focus on next Thursday if you're looking to have a little bit more cooperation with the Aries energy. We've got North Node in Taurus still retrograding, and the nodes retrograde through the signs, so it gets closer and closer to changing signs. But it is the new energy, the first decan of Taurus energy, North Node, going towards finances, going towards awareness of love and being in a couple, but also how do we look at money as a couple, practical pragmatism of money. We've got Uranus at 15 degrees, again, right dead center in the middle, and it's a world point. Uranus on the world point and North Node at 6 degrees. They are 9 degrees apart, moving away from a conjunction. So they're kind of separating energy. and Uranus is moving forward now. So Uranus is bringing eccentricity and unexpected events coming in. He is in kind of a negative aspect to Chiron and Juno. So there's a little bit of friction in relationships also from that aspect. And because Uranus is in Taurus, which answers to Venus, Venus about to go into a new sign. So Uranus will shift energy over the course of the weekend from that Piscean, maybe dreamy, not really looking at the true aspect of what's going on, to Aries, which means now Uranus is going to want to move forward with the energy. So I do foresee in the early part of next week a very strong shift, taking action and getting things done around a relationship, around finances, and maybe information coming in that we didn't know before. So it's going to be a really strong opening up of the energy and awareness and cognizance of something that can actually benefit us and help us as the energy shifts with Venus. Mars and Gemini, sticking to those middle degrees as well. Just really exploring the energy of the middle degrees. So the middle degrees for Gemini are the Libra energy degrees, which of course is similar to the Aries middle degrees in that it is more relational, more social, and Libra is about balance and marriage. So Mars in Gemini is going to go back and forth between two factions in marriage and partnership. So if there are two partners or two marital situations going out of an old one into a new one, you're going to have more action back and forth like a ping pong ball kind of as this energy continues on. Just aim for the end of March for that kind of, I want to say almost schizophrenic energy going back and forth. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. It is ping pong energy. It's just going to stick with us for another month. So know that that's there. Mars in Gemini is going to enter the third decan, which is the Aquarian energy coming up on the 4th of March. So if you're looking to have things a little bit more free flowing, answering to Uranus energy, more Mars goes into the Aquarius decan on the 4th of March. So, aim for that and being a little less about the marriage and a little bit more about community, life purpose, social aspects associated with friendship. If you're looking to have someone help you with a situation, contracts, or an awareness of someone that could further the situation, that may come in more after the 4th of March. When Mars heads into that Aquarius energy, you'll have a friend maybe stand up and really offer help. Cancer energy, Pallas Athena just went direct yesterday. Pallas Athena, 10 degrees Cancer. She is at the last degree of the first 10 degrees of that decan. And so she's wrapping up the story around Cancer. She turned direct, which means she's no longer restricted in her energy. She's free flowing forward. She's very strong energy around aggression, or not even aggression, just more being in the feminine power and the motherly energy moving forward. So while we had some of that energy with Venus moving into Aries, Pallas Athena is really expressing that strong a drive in Cancer. So around the home now, she's actually going to have more of a say in what happens around the home and where we head. And then the second 10 degrees of Cancer are the Scorpionic degrees, and that is the energy of the hidden, the energy of commitment, and really the passionate side of Pallas Athena. So if there was a holdup with relationship based on a feminine energy or multiple feminine energies because of Mars and Gemini, Pallas Athena now finds her voice and is able to move things more forward with that energy. So that's where I'm going to stop with the energy of the week. The energy of what's in this current chart that we've been going over. But we do have the new moon. New moon is initiating energy. It is going to initiate the final zodiac sign of Pisces, which means in a weird way, we are starting something new in the energy of the old. And so that is really looking at our psychology, our subconscious motivations, our area where we feel we don't want to look at the truth and we need to escape. Venus showed us our desires and what is truly in our subconscious and what we truly want out of a situation. And as she moves into Aries, she's going to express that out and be more assertive about it. But as we enter the new moon, that new moon cycle is showing us how to initiate in an emotional sense, in a psychic sense, in owning the energy of our desires and not ignoring that. And because the moon goes so quickly, the moon will only take 2.5 days to initiate and then hit Neptune and then hit Aries. And so in the course of that 2.5 days, really get real with where you are and what's going on with your home life, especially emotionally. Maybe really immerse yourself in your desires, in your daydreams, to understand where you want to head with this culmination energy of Pisces coming in. Because yes, it's a new moon, and then Saturn hits and really says, okay, we found out what our desires truly are, and now I'm going to really give you the means to root them in and make them something special. Because in the course of the next 2.5 years, Saturn is going to really immerse the energy in the structure of how to make those dreams come true, and finally exiting in that time with that connection to Neptune and the dream coming to reality. So we have about 2.5 years, and then we're really going to do the internal grunge work, the psychic awareness work of making those dreams come true. Moon goes into Aries on Tuesday, and Venus enters Aries Monday. So the new moon finishes up overnight on Monday, and then Venus enters Aries at 2:56 a.m. And so she is going to really start to explore her masculine side. She's going to be much stronger with her intentions. She's going to be a little bit more selfish and not as concerned with the male side of things. Men may find that they are more aware of feminine energy, and women are much more aware of their masculine side at that time for the course of the month. And then Moon enters Aries. So Moon and Venus will be in Aries as of Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. And it's going to be overnight on Tuesday, so it won't really hit us until Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to have Moon in Aries and Mercury in Aquarius. Mars is in Gemini, so it's going to be a really strong energy around discussion, discourse, opening to new ideas, and bringing in the energy of feminine side of things, but being more assertive with our feminine energy. Probably Sunday, we'll hear about another feminine transition in the public eye, and that's just because Venus is wrapping up her time past Neptune. We did have Raquel Welch pass away this past week at 82 years old. She, for those of you who are really young, was a pretty well-known actress and entertainer in the 70s and 80s, a la Marilyn Monroe. And so she is now gone. I think she was a Virgo, if I'm not mistaken, and she passed under the end degrees of Aquarius. Mercury squares Uranus on Tuesday the 21st. Moon joins up with Neptune at 2:52 p.m. in Pisces, and then Mercury squares Uranus 5:22 p.m. on Tuesday. It is Mardi Gras. Mercury Uranus not really cooperating. That's technology. That's when, things kind of go kerblooey. Internet problems. This is probably a Facebook issue as well. It definitely speaks to Facebook technology issues. Elon Musk is definitely influenced by Uranus, and Mercury is communications squaring Uranus on Tuesday. He'll probably have a little mini meltdown. Yeah, and then the Aries energy on Wednesday, we have the Mercury trine Mars, which is actually cooperative and actually pretty nice energy because Mercury is what Mars is answering to at that time. So there can be a good meeting of the minds, maybe new ideas on how to get things going the way you want, talking to siblings, talking to neighbors, and cooperation with small animals or pets. Thursday looks like a pretty good day, a little bit of a glitch later in the day, overnight. It's not going to be anything too serious. 11:22 p.m. Pacific, but all day pretty much overall sextiles to Mars with the moon, sextile to Mercury with the moon, and sextile to Saturn with the moon. Very good cooperative energy. Friday of next week, that's the 24th, moon enters Taurus, and then there's a positive sextile between the moon and sun. So that's going to be a really lovely day for relationship, for money. I guess the only thing I would say that I wanted to touch on for the week, besides that was the Super Bowl, which I didn't really say anything about last week. The Super Bowl was really interesting for me because I did a chart for the Super Bowl. I'll show you, it's right here. And what I noticed when I was calling it was there was a strong energy, Mercury energy, because there's a Virgo rising for the Super Bowl coin toss. Virgo 1 degree in Glendale, Arizona, which meant that the home team, which it was Kansas City Chiefs, was the home team for the Super Bowl. They were represented by Mercury. Mercury was at 2 degrees Aquarius in the house of work. Sun was at 24, joined up with Saturn, also in Aquarius in the end degrees of the house of work. So Mercury, Sun, and Saturn were all in the house of work. That gave that that team was really strong about doing the physical work, the labor that had to happen. It was unexpected and not how you would think. So by the end of the first half, Kansas City chose to receive in the second half, and that meant the Eagles received in the first half. And they were represented by the opposite sign, which was Pisces. And Venus was joining up with Neptune in Pisces, but that was very much dreamy energy. It was the dream of the conclusion of winning the Super Bowl. They were doing good in the first half because they received the ball. And what I saw was because Mercury was in Aquarius, just into the 6th house of work and health, I told my parents, I have witnesses to this because they're the only ones I told. I said, there's going to be an injury, which Mahomes ended up getting his ankle re-injured. There was an injury, and I said that. And then also, whoever is seen as not the one who's going to win will ultimately win in the end. So in the first half, it was the Eagles ahead. Second half, it was back and forth. I said that it was going to be equal between it was fairly well matched because of the power between Venus, Neptune for the Eagles as indicators, and then Saturn, Sun, Mercury for the Chiefs. But ultimately, I felt the Chiefs would win. And ultimately, the ones who won were the ones who weren't necessarily going to be seen as the winners in the game. And I thought that was the Chiefs. So kind of basically turned out the way I had called it when I started. And I apologize for not getting that information out last week on our podcast, but I wanted to show you, and I will put up the chart on Facebook under AstroEnergy and Angelic Zodiac, so you can also see what that chart shows. But the strong indicators, and the reason I'm doing it now is because if you do research for, sports events, and I like to look at the sporting events, I do a lot with the major sports events like World Series, Super Bowl, and the Kentucky Derby. I like to do research on the horses for those. Pretty much, if you look at the indicators, which are the first house and the 7th house rulers, and how they interact in a chart, you can really see a lot. And also the moon, you can see a lot with how the factors turn out in the end. But for me, really, the indicators for the majority of the Super Bowl were each team's rulerships, and the Aquarian energy with Mercury was really strong. Anyway, I could go on and on, but I wanted to bring that up because if you are studying sports and want to know how to look at a sports chart, do the beginning of the game. So the time the game starts, if it's a coin toss or if it's just coming on the field, do it for the location of the sporting event. Find out who the ruling planets are for the first house of the home team and the 7th house for the away team. See how they interact, see what transpires over the course of the game, and then make the call from there. Okay, that's all I have for you for this week. I hope you had a good Valentine's Day last week. And let's see, yeah, we're going to have Mardi Gras coming up. So have a good Mardi Gras this week, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Thought I'd add a little light to the subject. Okay.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at AstroEnergy Astrology Show.